Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks for joining me here today. And we're going to check out MDX, which is a request from one of my patrons, Ronnie B. Thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate the request. Now, moving forward, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. So if this is the first time you're watching this, just know I have years of trading experience. My goal is to help you become more of an effective trader. I try to get a little more specific with my explanations, help you understand. You can learn and grow, hopefully together. And if you'd like more of a one-on-one experience or just more detailed, I have a Signal group. Link in the description below for that, where we actually have a really cool trading community, and I share all of my trades with my members. Now, getting on to Bitcoin here, we always look at Bitcoin first too. If you're new to the channel, just note to get a quick baseline of the market, because there's almost always a direct correlation between the price movement, and any good trader is going to look at Bitcoin and know what it's doing before they invest in an altcoin. Okay, never let anyone tell you otherwise. So starting with Bitcoin, we have an ascending wedge pattern here that was forming yesterday, and it of course came to fruition here today. So we can see the price broke above 56,000. We have about 5 minutes left in the trading day, so therefore 56,000 is now the new support level moving forward. We have a secondary support at 53,800 and 52,600 just below that. So some nice trading channels here essentially that are working very well as support and resistance zones. Now moving forward, we can expect the price to possibly retrace tomorrow for Bitcoin, just based on the fact that Tuesdays are commonly red days. Today being a very strong day, followed by a green weekend, for lack of better terms. I think it's safe to say we might see at least a retrace down to 56,000. That'd be a decent entry point depending on what happens. So we'll take a look at that obviously later, but for now, that is essentially what we're considering here for Bitcoin, and that is essentially where we're at. So moving on to MDX. Now, taking a look at this guy here, let's look at the big picture, because I haven't looked at this yet. It does look like it was a fairly recent ICO. I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. Link, comment down below, of course. But May 24th appears to be the oldest time frame that I could find, at least on TradingView, for the for its ICO date and or just introduction to this exchange. Right, it's been on Binance since May 24th. That being said, let's go ahead and mark the highest point. And again, we're marking the support and resistance levels based on the highest point in which the one-day candlestick closed, right? Now, obviously, the highest up here is 277, but the candlesticks closed essentially 2 days in a row right about 243. All right, so taking a look here, we got another secondary resistance. Let's go ahead and mark that as well at 204. Other than that, not much else to note except for the fact that when we take a look at this here as well, because this was introduced in May. Now, this actually had a good ICO day. It came in right after the major sell-offs from Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, prices come down. Obviously, we saw some major retracement, but I think there's good potential for this to come back up, just based on the fact that it did hit its low. So we can go ahead and mark that as well. It's got a really significant support at about 108. So you can see 108 kind of working as a pretty consistent support level. And we're just moving right below that, or above and below those two channels. Now, what's cool about this too here, keep this in mind, we've got the 50-day simple moving average on the one-day chart. That's working as a support level now that it's closed above. Therefore, that is now the new support. So that's awesome news. 145 is essentially a nice support level, likely for MDX. And I say likely because it doesn't always hold, but it's more often than not for it to be continuously as a support that will push the price action up instead of down. Okay. So that's working in its favor here. Another thing that's awesome is the RSI is up over 50. Yes, it's under 70, which is perfectly fine. We like to see that. Anytime when we have an RSI over 50, it's like something to celebrate, because it's kind of more so in a bullish convergence rather than a bearish divergence. If you can kind of see here, take a look. I mean, it's no coincidence. Anytime the price is above 50, you can see it's working as a support. When it's below, it's considered a resistance. So we basically have that working for us as well. So heaven forbid, the price were to kind of retrace, bounce off this support level at about 147, right where the moving average is. The RSI at 50 will eventually hold as well. It's usually a pretty common correlation. Just note that when the RSI breaks below 50, that is a consideration of the fact that we now have bearish divergence. MACD also still considered bullish. Just keep in mind it is a bit on the overextended side. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of bullish momentum. Traditionally speaking, you should only see no more than 9 days of bullish trading. In other words, we should expect a retracement after about 3 or 4 more days. Because you see here, any good bull run right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 7th day, it retraced. It bounced off the resistance and came back down. We have more room for growth here. We're well under 70 on the RSI, and we're below that resistance level, but keep in mind that could be part of the equation there as well. Another thing to note here too, we can kind of see on the one-day chart, this was a resistance as well. So that could be holding the price action down right now at about 167. No, 164. So 164 is a potential resistance. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here when we got the price kind of squeezing between the moving average, pushing the price up, and the resistance pushing it down. What that should result in is an ascending wedge pattern where the price will likely break to the upside. It's a pretty common characteristic in situations like these. So I would expect the price to break to the upside. How hard it's going to break, it's hard to say. What would I'd like to see is the price kind of break up, continue to ride support here, and then go on a second leg up and push up hard. Some of this is reliant on Bitcoin too. Keep in mind the last 5 trading days of Bitcoin have been very beneficial, right? Same thing with MDX here. We've had 5 good solid days of trading. So it's no coincidence that there is a correlation between Bitcoin and MDX at this time. So we do see a retracement tomorrow. We might see it come down and test the support level. But cool thing is we do have this, the 50-day simple moving average potentially working as a support level. All right, moving on to the 4-hour chart. Let's quickly look at that here. I like this. This is nice. Normally I wouldn't celebrate this, but this is a nice pattern. So take a look at this here. We got up, over, up, over, up, over, all the way up. Those are nice steps. That's exactly what you want to see in a bull run, a nice continuation. Yes, we have a couple of larger wicks that got retraced, but the bottom line here is we are seeing higher highs and higher lows. That's important. We need to see those. It's a terrible representation of higher highs and higher lows, but you get the point, right? High, low, they were higher than the previous, right? That is important. Just keep in mind we might see some sideways action, hopefully some consolidation between 153 and 170 for a breakout to the upside. But cool thing is too, keep this in mind, 50 days working its way up here as well to work likely as a support level. What's really cool about these ascending wedge patterns, oftentimes you can see the moving average, the 50-day moving average, working concurrent with that wedge pattern, pushing the price up even further. So I like to see that. That's a really good sign. We've also got, got a MACD divergence here. Technically, that's nothing to worry about considering the fact that we're still under 70 and above 50 on the RSI. So all good things. I really don't see anything to worry about here because we're expecting, due to the fact that this is kind of a longer run here, we've got about 5 or 6 days of bullish momentum. We can expect correction. Okay. All right, so looking very good here. Let's just quickly look at the 1-hour chart and call it a day. And taking a look here at the 1 hour. Again, you can see those higher highs and higher lows clear as day, looking very good. Let's go ahead and see if we're above the cloud, which I'm sure we are. And this is a really cool thing about bullish momentum in the way that you can kind of identify it. Outside of just saying using an EMA 15 on the 15-minute chart, you can use the Ishimoku cloud as well, right? So in other words, when the price comes down, you see it kind of trying to break into the cloud. It's working as a support level every time, okay? And if you're new to the channel or just trading in general, when the price is above the cloud, it's considered a buy signal. So again, in retrospect, it's easy to identify because obviously this is the hindsight, and hindsight's 2020. But if you look back here, price breaks above the cloud, you would have considered taking a profit there. That would have been about 11-12%. That's a good day if you ask me. Right here, say you take an entry there. What that would have been, much higher, of course, to the price right now, 26%. You'll be up 26% if you just bought as soon as the price broke above the cloud. Now, it's not a guarantee, but oftentimes when you look on the MACD and you see a 4-hour convergence on the MACD and you identify the 1-hour Ishimoku cloud breakout, it's almost always a guarantee you're going to see the price come up. And what that does is it's just telling us that the bears have lost control and the bulls have gained momentum, right? So we look at like a MACD convergence, for example, you can see right here, the 12-day exponential moving average is intersecting with the 26 in an upward fashion. Right there, bulls gained control and the bears lost control. Therefore, price pushes up and you have another continuation of at least 9 to 12 hours of bullish momentum. That's just kind of standard. That's the way it always typically goes in all the years of trading that I've seen. That is a very, very common characteristic. And it's even more valid or relevant in cryptocurrency. It's interesting how this works, but it's just because of the fact that crypto has more volatility and you can kind of see the patterns a lot more. Either way, I like what I see here from MDX. It's definitely a good consideration to consider taking entry. I think it's going to break to the upside here soon. We might see something happen. So I guess my consideration here for MDX is the fact that we'll probably see the price break up here in the next few days. It does depend on how Bitcoin performs. It's a bit on the overextended side right now. So I'd be totally happy with a week of consolidation followed by a break to the upside. And then of course, a continuation to this resistance about 204. I think this could all take place within the next month or less. Likely, I think we're likely going to see maybe about 2 or 3 more days of continuation to keep pushing the price up higher and higher, but getting stopped out by that resistance. And then with a little bit of consolidation, we'll see it break through and start trending towards 204. So this is definitely a good coin here. I think this is something worth looking at and, considering as a swing trade option, as long as we have the right signals. And so far, everything's looking very good. So green light on MDX here. If you liked what you see here, feel free to join my Telegram community. Of course, I have a Patreon account. I think I mentioned that below. I send out all signals for everything that I take, as well as the fact that we have a open live chat and everything can kind of work dynamically. We've got trading bots, really cool situation. And regardless, thank you, Ronnie, again for requesting that I cover this here today. You're one of my patrons. I really do greatly appreciate you. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.